The surly curmudgeon, watching out for the young'uns.
I'm the surly curmudgeon, and I'm here to help you. We're talking today about Omniarchy. Omniarchy, which means total authority. It is a system of government which is established to protect your rights and your responsibilities to that society in return. That's it. It's very simple. It works a lot like sandlot football. Now, if you're joining the Terraformers or the Freedom Fleet or the Sea Lions, you need to know this because that's how those three outfits are run. It works a lot like sandlot football. Everyone knows the rules and everybody enforces the rules. If a team is offsides when the ball is hiked, people on both teams are going to call it because people care more about the rule of law than they care about little things like winning, and they know that to a healthy adult, winning is a little thing. There can be many flavors of Omniarchy. There can be monogamous, polygamous, Omniarchies who just don't care who you sleep with, financially liberal or financially conservative, militaristic or more risk-taking, etc., etc. The key is that you join one voluntarily as an adult. Your children can only join it. Your children can only join it if they meet the same qualifications you did. What is expected of you is in writing, and what you can expect from the group is in writing. You sign the compact with your own hot little hand, and the compact cannot change without your agreement, ever. That means no new laws. They're not constantly making more laws you got to deal with. Now, those are the principles of Omniarchy. Let's get to the structure of Omniarchy in just a moment here. Omniarchy means total authority, and that's your authority. All right. Omniarchy is a distillation of everything we've learned about how to and how not to run a civilization in the last several thousand years. And one of the things we've learned is that while we do need a system, we need a set of procedures, we don't need a government. In an Omniarchy, you are the government. There are 5 offices of government. You fill all of them as needed. You vote on every policy at High Council. You sit on a jury whenever needed. You sit on lower councils when your name is drawn, and you get paid well for all this. You can make arrests because you're a sheriff. You trained in that at the academy before you joined the Omniarchy. You can investigate suspected crimes and so on and so on. Here's the structure of Omniarchy. There are 5 offices of governance, and before you join an Omniarchy, you attend their training to exercise those offices. Every Omniarch is qualified to fill every office and agrees to fill them as needed. You do this. You don't walk past a rape, robbery, murder going on over here. Right? That's the price of freedom and justice, being willing to do the work of justice and fight for freedom every moment of every day. Fortunately, it's not usually a heavy workload. Let's skip that section. That strikes me as redundant. Okay, the compact contains your duties and rights, and one of those duties is to recognize and protect everyone else's rights. So you really are joining a team. The compact recognizes omniarchs, protecteds, such as children, the handicapped, and the retired, and outsiders. All these have rights defined by the compact. The omniarchs have the most rights. The protecteds have the almost as many rights as the omniarchs, and they even have a few rights that omniarchs don't have. Like when a ship is sinking, they get to go first. These are the women and kids, so to speak, only it's not just women and kids. It's handicapped and elderly and so on. Right? And outsiders have the fewest rights of all. And when I say rights, I'm talking about things that we will enforce in our courts. We're not telling you to be disrespectful to people because they have fewer rights than we do. Just like I have no rights in a German court. I'm not a German citizen. You know, to sue somebody in Germany, I would have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops to establish the right to sue and so on. That's all we're talking about here. They're outsiders. Okay? The compact also specifies your minimum military service, if any. Now, some omniarchies won't have a military establishment. Some will be all volunteers. Some will have regular stints. Whatever it is, it's in the compact when you sign it, and it can't change until you retire unless you choose to let it change. And every omniarch has the right to control their person and property and to own and possess anything so long as that doesn't violate someone else's rights. Like you don't have the right to possess someone else's money. We call that stealing. That little statement covers a lot. For example, you have the right to put any substance you wish into your body and to have drugs in your possession or weapons or whatever. If you fail to present yourself fit for service for your military hitch, you'll face whatever consequences there. You might even have your compact canceled. Depends on how strict they are about those things. But that's a different thing from telling you you can't do drugs or drink to excess or in any other way interfere with your enjoyment of control over your body. It's yours. If someone else claims the right to control it, they're saying it's not really yours. It's mine. And the state does not own my body. Now, do we need a vandalism law? Well, if you key someone's car, haven't you just interfered with their control over it? They bought it with a certain paint job. You changed that. Gee, let me think. No, we don't need a law for that. It's in the compact that you have to respect their right to control their car. Extortion, murder, robbery, embezzlement, do we need laws for those? Nope. Those are all attempts to interfere with someone's right to control their own body or property, so no, we don't need specific laws for that. In an Omniarchy court, if a violation can be paid for with money, such as vandalism, the judgment is twice the cash value of the damage plus the cost of investigation and conviction. If a violation can't be paid for with money, like murder or child molesting or rape, then the judgment will be banishment or putting ashore. Banishment means you pay the cost of investigating and convicting you, and then after a certain date, your compact is marked banished, and anyone who catches you may do whatever harm they can, and they will not be held to answer in our courts. This person will probably be a relative of your victim. Putting ashore means we strip you of all your money and property, pay the cost of investigating and convicting you, give the rest to your victim, and drop you off somewhere with nothing but the clothes on your back. And again, watch out for the victim's family. Okay? They're going to be pissed. If you're very lucky, we might drop you off somewhere where you speak the language. Now, let's look at a sample on Anarchy. Let's look at how it works, okay? It's called the Freeholders. Their logo behind me. There actually were 3 of us. 2 of us suddenly died this summer. It's been a hell of a casualty rate. So now it's just a little old me. But hey, I'm me. I'm a force of 1. Yeah. When we first get together, we take the sample compact on omniarchy.com and we rewrite it so we like it. Right? For example, suppose none of us like the idea of spanking children. The sample compact on omniarchy.com allows for spanking if it's done within certain limits, but we take that whole bit out. No spanking, find a different way. Right? Other than that, we like it, so we put our name on it, and it's the Freeholder Compact. Now let's say there's 100 of us to start with. We get together, each of us signs the compact, and each of us gets a copy of the compact, the dictionary, the grammar and usage manual, the weights, measures, and standards reference, and the accounting manual. Ta-da! That's our law library. And all these things matters, like weights and standards. We don't have to publish a law that says if you sell a gallon of milk, if it's marked a gallon on the container, but there's only 124 ounces in there, you're guilty of false advertising or something. Okay? We would go to a jury. If my gallon was short 4 ounces, I'd go to the grocer and say, hey, it says a gallon on here. The measures and standards reference says that's 128 ounces. There's only 124 ounces in here. The rest of it's empty space. Fill it up. If he doesn't fix it, I can take him to court and get the cost of convicting him, plus the cost of 2 gallons of milk. Yay! But I will get the cost of convicting him if he won't make it right. But just by using those things as our law, like look, one of the things the compact says is you got to be truthful. On any matter that's under contract. But that's a whole different thing. That's a little more obscure. We'll deal with that another time. But all we're going to add to our law library is policies set by various councils over the years, and it might grow to take up most of a shelf, but there will be no buildings full of books for law libraries, and there is no need. There is no need. So, we go to work. We work at trades and businesses, of course, because we all need the income right now, but we get started on a council hall. We're going to go worldwide, so the council hall floats. It'll be built on a life yacht, which you can see at www.freedomfleet.net. We also start on building our own life yachts because we like the philosophy of freedom, and part of that philosophy is living so that you cannot be ruled over. And it is impossible to rule over someone who can get away from you. So we live mobile. Yeah. Our 9,000 square foot floating homes will go through hurricanes and uprivers. All the things you can see on the Freedom Fleet website, and one of the requirements to join the freeholders is that you own a life yacht, even if it's just one of the smaller ones. So with just 100 people, that's about 50 families, which means we'll have young'uns coming of age sometime soon, so we need a way for them to build their own life yachts. We do not want them taking on 30 years of payments to own a dwelling. We want them to begin their adult lives already owning a dwelling that makes all its own hot and cold fresh water, all its own electricity, has room for hydroponic farming on board, etc., and is mobile. So we'll build our own construction fleet and call it the Freeholder Academy. Remember, we're doing all this while we're still doing various businesses for income, and we can do it because we joined the Terraformers and went through their program at www.terraformers.neoviking.com. So, with a functioning construction fleet and a compact, we go forth and multiply. We recruit more members from the legions of freedom-loving people languishing in obscurity. We make babies and raise them up to be proud freeholders. All the regular things people do. We just handle all the governmental and financial stuff among ourselves differently. For one thing, we meet in High Council every year. There's simply no purpose for representatives anymore. We can attend over the internet. We can participate in debates about policy, we can hear appeals, the works. But High Council will rapidly become the time of family reunions, weddings, graduation parties, a real social focus as well as governmental, so we'll usually attend in person. Now, because we have floating homes that will go anywhere in the world there's 6 feet of water, attending High Council doesn't mean a cash layout, okay, because we're wind-powered. We just have to scale back our businesses for a few weeks, and we needed a vacation anyway. It's party time. Yeah. Every year, High Council meets in a different place, just because we like to travel the world and meet in exotic locations. One thing we do at High Council is set military policy. In our Omniarchy, and yours can be different, every member serves in the military 3 months out of 3 years. That's in the compact when you sign it. Can't change. That means you can have almost 6 years between hitches. You can do 3 months in year 1 at the beginning and then 3 months at the end of year 6, so you went 5.5 years without military service. That way, we always have 1/9 of our population on active duty in the military, training, improving the force, etc. Some of us can and will be full-time military, and yes, they get paid for that. But most of us are on active duty 3 months out of 3 years and in reserve the rest of the time. We are defensive. We aren't a bit interested in conquering anybody, and at the same time, we don't want to be conquered, and we don't want our part of the world messed up. So, at High Council, we may kick a lot of ideas around, but we work out a policy that we vote on, and once it's passed, the Military Council has to carry it out. The Military Council is a lesser council. All the lesser councils have to carry out High Council policies. Anything else is outside their jurisdiction. If they don't, it's a violation of the compact, and any one of us can bring the members of that council before a jury. Have you noticed your government does not answer to you? Well, we don't have that problem. If the High Council, for example, tells the Military Council that any outsider vessel within 200 miles of Council Hall must be tracked by our Navy, and they don't do that, one of our members can accuse them of violating the compact and bring the whole council in front of a jury. They don't get to do whatever they want, and any jury can call on as many members as necessary to force them to answer a jury summons. Our juries enforce the law. The Military Council is drawn by random lot from our senior members. There is no politicking among us. When a council needs staffed, everyone with the least conflict of interest is put in the pool and names drawn randomly. You cannot pass on council duty more than twice. You can't say, sorry, I'm too busy, more than twice in your entire life with us. Twice. And once you've served on a council, you cannot serve on that council again until you've served on every other council or until everyone else has served on that council. No campaigning, no politics. And if you think, well, what if somebody's not qualified to sit on a council? I say, one, we're going to require that people get qualified. Two, if you're qualified to vote, you're qualified to sit on a council and vote on the actual issue. So, we've established military policy at High Council, and I got to debate on it and vote on it, which means when I'm doing my hitch on active duty in the military, if I don't like the policies I have to carry out at the next High Council, I can try to change it. I might fail, but I have a say. I got a real voice in the matter. Aside from the Military Council, Councils can only regulate relationships between omniarchs, never individual omniarchs' actions or property. Example, the military council might require that I present myself fit for service according to a set of standards. I got to run so far, do so many push-ups, so many pull-ups, etc. The military council cannot tell me that when I'm not on active duty, I can't drink to excess, I can't do drugs, get tattoos, or anything else, because they only have authority over me during the dates of my active duty. Those are matters of things over which I have total control, my body. If I can tuck away a fifth of vodka a day and still present myself fit for service on my induction date, it's none of their damn business. Another example, a safety council might exist. We have one of those now, right? They require seatbelts in cars. An Omniarch Safety Council cannot require a safety belt in a car, nor require me to wear one. What they can do is require that when I offer another freeholder a ride in my car, I have to either provide a seatbelt or offer to let them drive. So you see the difference between controlling people and property versus regulating the relationships between people? There won't be a lot of councils. Let's say we have a murder. Okay, whoever finds the body puts out the call, and everyone within a certain distance puts their name in the jury pool, and a jury is drawn. There is no jury selection. You breathe, you serve, except for one thing, conflict of interest. Those must be declared and disqualify you from sitting on a jury or a council. Right? If we just found your brother's body, you're not going to sit on that jury. See? The jury launches an investigation and assigns omniarchs to investigate. These people are acting in the role of sheriff. If there's someone with more training or experience in investigating, the jury might assign the job to them, but anybody can do it, and they'll get paid for it. If no one volunteers, the jury can draw names to see who has to do it. Right? It's got to be done. The investigator keeps records of investigation, including time spent. If he needs resources, the jury can call on those with society funds. Our sheriff completes the investigation, the violation is charged, and a different jury hears the case. According to the compact, being convicted of murder means you're stripped of all property, your spouse and kids get whatever they would in a divorce, and the rest goes to your victim or victim's family to pay the cost of your investigation trial, and you will be put ashore. If there are mitigating circumstances, you might get to keep all your stuff and be simply banished. We don't execute people officially. All we'll do is banish them or put them ashore. If a jury convicts someone of a capital rape, like capital crime, like rape or murder or child molesting, the case is automatically appealed to High Council, and we all, as a society, vote on it. Now, all we're going to do is vote yes or overturn. All right, we're not going to retry the case. We're going to look at everything the jury did, say, was this right? Yeah, leave it up. If there's grounds for appeal, we'll look at those too. We'll act like an appellate court or like the Supreme Court. Okay. Banishment and putting ashore are practically death sentences, and they should not be passed without a society-wide vote. No one can murder on my behalf. I'll vote yes or no, and I'll bear the responsibility like a man, and so will anyone I associate with, because I'm a freeholder. We don't put our responsibilities off on others. So if we get a conviction, the murderer has to pay for all the time it took to investigate, all the time the juror spent conducting the trial and deliberating. If he's married, we split his money and property as if he were divorced, give his wife and kids their share, put the rest toward the cost of his trial and victim compensation. Our rule is the investigation and trial get paid for, and the rest goes to the victim's family, provided the victim gets at least twice as much of the investigation and trial cost. If there isn't enough money for that, then when we liquidate the violator's estate. We assign him a job and garnish his wages until there is. We don't lock him up during this time. We let him live on his life yacht under house arrest, except for going to work. He'll stay at that job as long as possible, because once that bill's paid, he's either banished or put ashore, depending on what the jury ruled and the High Council ratified. So he wants to put off that day as much as possible. The punishments for crime are in the compact and can't be changed. Twice the damage, banishment, or putting ashore. That's it. When you do something, you'll know beforehand exactly what's going to happen if you get convicted. Now, if we don't get a conviction, we issue an acquittal, turn in everybody's time cards to the High Council, and if everything was done according to the book, by the book, I should say, everyone gets paid at standard rate for their time, including the defendant and any attorneys or other parties involved. Standard rate is the average hourly income for the whole society. So if the U.S. did it this way, jurors would get about $27 an hour. At High Council, the Finance Council gives us their financial report. This is about all the goods and services produced that year, what an hour of a person's time is worth, average income, that sort of thing. This matters because we use our time as money, and we want to keep the value of our money constant with no inflation and no deflation. So every year that the amount of goods and services increases, the Finance Council will announce an increase in the money in circulation. Guess what? That isn't lent out through a bank. It's paid to us for attending High Council. How do you like them apples? Look, you have to get money into circulation somehow, so you may as well give it to those who are doing the work of running the society. Everybody. But before it's paid to us, there are some bills to pay. As a society, we run a Navy, which includes our Marines and Air Force. We also have central offices that provide support to, say, juries for forensic work, banking, research, the Freeholder Academy, things that really need to be handled publicly, not privately. So the Finance Council says, all right, we're going to increase the currency in circulation by X, and the public cost this year will be about Y, so subtracting Y from X, we recommend paying out Z divided by however many Omniarchs. Okay? That's where the fun starts. There's always some idiot who wants to increase or decrease the amount we spend on this or that, and all those arguments need to be heard and rebutted and approved or discarded and then voted on. And it can be a headache. But since I'm being paid to sit on High Council and I'm a responsible fellow, I'll at least turn down the music in my headphones and catch every third word in the debate before I vote. So, the budget is passed, cases are heard and ruled on, and I get a paycheck for having governed myself. I can live with that arrangement, at least until I report for military duty and realize what a stupid policy I voted on and swear that at the next High Council it's going to change. And while at the High Council, I attend family reunions, weddings, graduations. It's a big society-wide party. Great time of year. We should probably do it at Christmas time, just to do all that together. Military service is under the Military Council, and while someone is serving on the Military Council, they're exempt from military service. The Military Council is drawn at random, like all councils, from the Military Council is drawn from the 20% of Omniarchs who've been members of the Omniarchy the longest. The Military Council may only carry out policies laid down by the High Council, so we always have 2 layers of civilian control of the military. Your obligation to military service is spelled out in the compact. When your hitch is up, no one can tell you you have to stay longer, and if they try to stop you from leaving, you can arrest them for attempted kidnapping and put them in front of a jury. There's only one bank, because finance is a matter of national security, not business, and it does not lend at interest. I'll do a whole separate video on the bank, but the short version is when you need money, the bank invests in you and buys a share in your profits from then on. When you want to stop paying out a share in your profits, you can buy out the bank for the same amount it spent to buy in. We don't have inflation or deflation in our money. It's kept as constant as can be done. I could go on in more detail, but this is the gist of Omniarchy. I'll go into more detail on the various aspects in other videos, but you can see it's not just voluntarist. It's as libertarian as a society can be and be practical without sacrificing rights or freedoms. Questions? Put them in the comments below and I'll answer them. Be sure to like and subscribe, and always put your clothes and weapons where you can find them in the dark.